A little while ago, I did a reel on forced carbonation and clarified cocktails, and it not only became kind of a popular post, but it also inspired so much conversation that I thought it would be a really good idea to do a kind of in-depth YouTube video on forced carbonation and then also clarified cocktails. Clarified cocktails and forced carbonation go hand in hand because while it is true that you can carbonate anything, it is easier and better, and you get better results when you carbonate things that are clear for reasons we'll talk about later. So today I thought we'd do a twofer. We're gonna clarify a cocktail. I'm gonna show you that, which I know some of you guys might be if you're like following cocktails on the internet, especially if you're following them on Instagram, you might be a little sick of all the clarified cocktails that people are making. There are a few creators that do clarified cocktails like twice a month, not naming any names. I have definitely done them a few times as well. But what I was really surprised about is that I did not see anybody making any content on forced carbonation. Forced carbonation is the addition of CO2 gas into a cocktail to make it sparkling. First thing we're gonna do today, guys, is we are going to clarify a whiskey sour. Pretty easy. I have everything all portioned out. Per usual, I forgot something, but we just need some whiskey. We need some simple syrup. I almost just spilled the lemon juice everywhere. We need some lemon juice. I portioned these all out because I'm just gonna do a smaller batch right now, okay? Then I just need to go get some, we need some water for dilution. I forgot that. Okay, got our dilution. We're gonna do a couple of different vessels here. We need one that is completely empty that does not have water in it. And then we need one that's hooked up with a fine strainer. I actually found this on Amazon. It's pretty cool. This thing is a filter used in the manufacture of maple syrup to just, I guess, get all the little tree bits out of maple syrup. And it comes in this really handy dandy thing that fits on basically most of my Cambros. I really love it. I like to pair that up with a nut milk bag to put in here to make sure that we get a really nice fine strain. This thing works really, really well. It is linked below. I highly recommend it. Okay, so in our container here, we are going to add 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice. And we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of simple syrup. So next thing is adding 2 cups of bourbon of your choice. This is the what used to be the yellow top Four Roses, but it's just like the entry-level Four Roses. It's very awesome, nice in a cocktail, and not too expensive. It's not gonna break the bank. All right, so we're gonna add that in as well. And then of course we're gonna need dilution. You wanna do about 20% dilution in your cocktail. If we do, this is 3.5 cups times 0.2 for your 20% dilution is about 0.7. So that's like a skimpy 3/4 of a cup of water. Put that in as well. If you're being very exacting, you want to put some Angostura bitters in here, but I don't know where they are and I'm not going to do it. So then after that, you want to calculate your total, and then you want to do a 1/4 of that volume in milk. If you don't want to use milk and you want to be vegan, you can absolutely do that. You can use soy milk, you can use coconut cream. I found is a little bit better than coconut milk. Coconut milk takes a lot of filtration. It's kind of a pain in the ass. From what I found, and I don't know the science behind this, from what I found, soy milk should be heated up a little bit. It just works better when it's heated up. In the past, I have thought that it was the fat content in milk that helped this clarification, but it's the high proteins that really help clarification. Nothing clarifies like whole milk, but if you don't drink it, you can definitely use basically anything with higher protein content is going to help the clarification process. Okay, now we need a second container here, and I'll tell you why. And I got a little pushback last time I said this, but it is 100% true, and I'm trying to give you guys the best information. So we need at least 1/4 of the volume of this cocktail in milk. That comes out to be something like 0.8 something. So I just go like a skimpy 1 cup. So I just do like just under the 1 cup mark. It can actually be over 1/4. You just want at least 1/4 of the volume. And what you want to do is you want to put that into its own container. Now here's the deal, and I did get pushback on this last time I said this. When you're clarifying, it is better to put the cocktail into the milk than the milk into the cocktail. If you do it the reverse way, if you put the milk into the cocktail, it will curdle and you will get a clarified drink, okay? It does work. I know this because I've literally done this hundreds of times. But when you put milk into cocktail, it tends to curdle on contact, like very, very fast. You don't want that to happen. What you want is you want the curdling to develop slowly so that you can develop bigger curds. The bigger the curds, the more of the sediment and cloudy bits it's trapping in the curds, and the more clear you're gonna have your cocktail. The other thing is that you wanna make sure that you let it sit for a while. Now, if you let your cocktail sit for 20 minutes, which I have done, you can definitely clarify it and it will work, but it will be a lot less clear than if you let it sit for a couple of hours. So I'm gonna let this sit for 24 hours. So we're just taking our cocktail here and we're just literally gonna pour it, not super fast, but just, at an even pace into the milk like so. And then we're just gonna set this aside for 24 hours. Come back here in 24 hours. Here we are with our cocktail. It's kind of a punch in the balls. As at the beginning of the day, this entire thing from here to here was completely clear, but I've had to move this twice, and so it jostled the curds around. But you can see in between how clear it's gotten. If you let it sit for longer, it's just gonna be clearer, a clearer cocktail. So do that. Okay, so now we're just gonna filter it. And it should actually also filter a little bit faster as well. I don't like using coffee filters because coffee filters work, but they clog very fast. And so when you're using a coffee filter, you're constantly having to change it out before all the liquid has filtered out. And so it's a real pain in the ass to just jigger them around. It's just, this is so much better. And this thing was only $11 or something, so it's totally worth it. So we're just gonna throw this in here like so. It should really look like oatmeal when it's going in. As you can see, it's coming out crystal clear. You see how fast it's filtering? Do you see how clear that is though? I mean, it's super, super clear. And this is what it should look like, your cleared cocktail. Now we're gonna wait for this to filter a little bit and we'll move on to step 2, which is to force carbonate. I'm gonna show you the carbonation rig, everything that you need to buy, how much it costs, and some safety tips.
One eternity later.
Oh, it's taken so long to make this video. We have our milk punch here. You actually put this in the fridge and let it chill, because when you add bubbles to things, you want those things to be cold. It does not work well in room temperature or warm liquids, so you want it to be cold. And then what we have here to clarify it is a soda rig. Now, this looks excessive, it really does, I completely understand, but it's comprised of just a few parts. It costs about $135 to put this entire thing together. All of the parts are linked below if you guys are interested in building your own rig. And that is about the same amount of money as either a Sodastream or a DrinkMake. Sodastream does not work very well for cocktails, and it's really not made to be used for cocktails. So a DrinkMake, if you're gonna buy one of those just hand touch ones, are kind of made more for cocktails. They actually brand it with a cocktail, like a sparkling cocktail on the box. So it is definitely made to be used to make cocktails. I think that each system kind of has its pros and its cons. I like this a little bit better because it is more versatile. You can do a lot more with this. So what you have is you have a 5-pound tank, 7.75 pound tank, really. You have a regulator, which is really, really important. And then there should also be a kill switch valve here on your regulator. The regulator is really important because if you don't have a regulator, you have no way of regulating the amount of CO2 that is being dispensed out of this canister. If you do not regulate the CO2, you can easily hurt yourself, blow things up. Don't do it. You also have a hose, a ball lock cap. One of the great benefits of this system is that you can dial in your PSI. So when you're using something like a DrinkMake, it just dispenses however much pounds per square inch of CO2 as it does. But with this, you actually have a little indicator right here, and you have a knob that will dial it in. When you're doing cocktails, you want to dial it into anywhere between 45 PSI to something like 60 or 65 PSI. I usually go about 60. I like to have really strong, kind of Topo Chico style bubbles, Mineragua style bubbles in my cocktails. And so you can do a little bit higher PSI. So it's just a little more versatile than the other system. We're gonna actually figure this out though and see which one is better. To be able to use that system though, you also need to have a soda cap for your bottle. And then just a little note on bottles for safety as well. You cannot use just any plastic bottles. You have to use what's called a PET bottle, PET bottle. You will notice that your bottle is a PET bottle by seeing a number 1 embossed in a little triangle on the bottom, and that's how you know it is the proper type of bottle, or it will have that triangle with the 1 and say PET underneath it. The best way to find a PET bottle is to just go to the store, just go to the market and get a soda bottle, because all carbonated sodas are in PET bottles. It's very important that you do this because it is a matter of safety. Okay, so you want to make sure you have the right kind of bottle. All right, we had to come back and do this because we lost temperature in our milk punch last time. So we're coming back after chilling everything thoroughly so it doesn't get overly foamy when we carbonate. All right, so we're just gonna do this at the same time, we said? Is that enough?
Last time maybe a couple more.
I don't want to overdo it
Yeah,
because it's going to spray everywhere if I overdo it.
that's probably good.
Is that good, you think?
Or one more than if you seem skeptical.
Okay, that's it. That's it, dude. Okay.
Oh,
Fucking let it go like... It still got very foamy, dude.
it did. Yeah.
I'm not very impressed by this contraption here. It's a good amount of bubbles in there.
Mm-hmm.
Should I just bite the bullet?
This is so messy.
It is messy. And not only that, but now we can't say it's a temperature thing, because last time we were like, well, it got foamy because it was a temperature thing. I think we overgassed it. I think, all of the pressing overgassed it.
Hey.
Yeah, there we go. That's how to let it all out. Here we go. All right. Well, it definitely put bubbles in there. Let's taste this one. This one did well. Yeah. You set the PSI to like 55, 60, and you get pretty much like Topo Chico strength bubbles, which I really like because I like things that are like pretty harshly sparkling. The thing about sparkling is that like it's kind of hard to detect until you shake it and then you see the bubbles in there, but they settle in the liquid, so. I mean, also I feel like I just scoop out the foam so I can like test the actual liquid.
Right.
I mean, somebody in the comments is going to tell me what we're doing wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've done this successfully with this machine and it gave really good bubbles. But we did this the right way. I think I just overgassed it when, oh, press it again, press it again. I mean, very similar bubbles to that. This is actually maybe a little less sparkling than this. And we only gassed that once, shook it to, agitate the bubbles or whatever, combine them in the liquid or what have you. So I think that the carbonation rig wins in this test. That being said, is it the perfect test? Do we have to do this again sometime, Marius?
I don't know, no.
I feel like we probably do have to do this again at some point. I feel like I'm not doing this 100% correctly. I haven't, here's the thing, I've done a ton of clarification. I haven't done a lot of forced carbonation. I've done a little bit of forced carbonation, and the forced carbonation that I've done in the bar, mainly, was in pony kegs for a draft system, which is a bit different than forced carbonation with the soda rig. That being said, the soda rig stuff came out just fine. And the DrinkMake thing, we overgassed it, and this is a little finicky, but this is also so much more versatile. You can dial up and down the bubbles to an extent, so it's just like a better system. And it was like $10 cheaper than this guy.
Yeah, and you get much more gas.
The other downside to this guy is that you have to replace these little cartridge tanks in the back. There are some places around LA that specialize in doing just these little tanks, but you're constantly having to fill them or get a whole bunch in bulk, whereas right here, you got this. It's $20 to fill, and it will last you a good long while, depending on how much you're carbonating, so. I think carbonation rig wins, dude.